What you want.
You're listening to The War Report, a wrestling and relationships podcast with your host, Vince Barry. The War Report is brought to you by TagMeADate.com, where wrestling night is date night. Sign up now, and your first month is free. All right. Buy the shirt. Brought to you by TagMeADate.com. We are live and in public, if you will, on a Tuesday night, baby. Once again, this is the War Report brought to you by TagMeADate.com. I'm your host, Vince Barry, and just trying to come up with a topical pun about how we're, as fresh as the nuclear sanctions on Iran or something, but I lost it. I didn't have anything funny. So we're just going to get into it, and you might see we're a person shy today. Our resident Jew, Eric, is not here, unfortunately. But we still have two of the other Tag Me Date crew here, and we got a good show lined up. We're gonna go over to Stu. Stu, I think I like talking to Stu, but we had to manage the sound because he's got a hard drive that decided that it wanted to start joining in on the conversation. But how are you doing today, Stu?
I'm doing good, Vince. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you.
That's good.
You ready for talk some wrestling?
I was born ready.
All right, and how about you, Steve? How are things up in your neck of the woods?
I can't complain, Vince. Things are doing real good. Tag Me a Date's on fire. We're growing fast and furious every day. The vast improvements still coming to the site. Lots of stuff coming. So just an exciting time, and a good-ass Raw.
Yeah.
So I'm super pumped to talk about that. And Battleground predictions, we'll save it all for the Freeman 5, but I'm feeling good, Vince. I'm feeling good. We got a good show lined up today.
Yeah, I think so, too. Speaking of the Freeman 5, he's not here, but in his, I don't want to say in his memory because that means he died, but, as an homage to our buddy Eric, we're going to do the Freeman 5. This is going to be interesting. We're going to have Steve read the Freeman 5 instead, but I will still play everybody's favorite Freeman 5 sounder over here. Here's a drop for you.
And you're going to get a 5 count. Do you hear that? You're going to get a 5 count.
3 ain't enough, man. I need 5. Just give me more time to keep your ass alive.
All right, so the Freeman's 5, there are 5 topics that we discuss usually every week, unless something special comes up. But instead of Eric reading them off today, because he is not here, we will have Steve do it. Go ahead with our Freeman 5 for this week.
All right, so topics for this week, we are going to talk about Monday Night Raw, 3 hours that didn't put me to sleep. So we got a good Raw to talk about. We got to talk about the NXT Divas Revolution, which will somewhat tie in with Raw. We're going to talk about Battleground predictions. We're going to talk about a missing Alberto Del Patron. Big doings in that side of things, kind of scary a little bit, so we definitely want to address that. And we are also going to discuss a missing one. What am I missing?
What are we going to do? Are we going to do Global Force? Are we going to do TNA?
Well, we can tie those two together at this point.
They're pretty much together at this point.
Yeah, so we can talk about that, and, whatever else comes up. But it's going to be a great show, man. This is going to be good.
Yeah, no, I think so. So, it just happened yesterday. Want to start off with Raw, or do we want to go, you want to jump around? I feel like...
I'm so pumped about Raw, it would be my pleasure to start it
off. You started off, Steve. We'll go you and then Stu. We'll go that way.
All right, well, so Raw. Every week I come on this show and I talk about how it was painful to get through. We always talk about the 3 hours being just too much. I don't know if it was just that good of a Raw or if they spaced out the key components of Raw well enough to keep the interest throughout each hour. The show opened. Well, listen. We got not one, but 2 phenomenal promos from Paul Heyman. There is nobody else in the fucking company that gives me goosebumps the way Paul Heyman does each and every time that man picks up a microphone. It is a grand slam. He is just amazing, and I could listen to that man all day long. Brock Lesnar never has to say a word, and in fact, he did.
Oh.
He
Yeah.
did. He did. For the first time since coming back and having Heyman in his corner, he grabbed the mic and said, "We could bring Suplex City, bitch, right now." And it was just so well done. The opening was great with Brock. A phenomenal promo with Heyman, cut off by Seth Rollins. It was a great start. There were some great matches throughout the show, but the biggest thing for me, I cannot remember the last time I heard "This is awesome" chants during a women's segment. This was the first time nobody went and took a piss break. This was the first time that nobody went and got a snack or a souvenir. You
Absolutely.
were glued to that television. Your ass was glued to that seat if you were there live. That was such an amazing segment. I am so excited for what's going to happen to the women's division. I am a little bit concerned that you just brought 3 of your top divas in NXT up, and what's that going to do now to NXT? I'm hoping they have some girls in the pipeline that they feel can replace and keep NXT as exciting as it has been. But to see Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky Lynch, and I got to be honest, I was surprised about Becky Lynch, not because I didn't want to see her there, but let's be honest, that was Bayley's spot. She's injured, so they had to come up with a plan B. But that segment with all around, I'm not the biggest Bella fan, but Nikki cut a very good promo. She does not cut good promos. Her promo was very, very good. And Stephanie coming out and interrupting it was great. Stephanie's promo was phenomenal. And the build-up and the excitement that you got from Steph, and then hearing Becky Lynch's music, and then the woos, and seeing Charlotte and then the Boss, the whole segment was done perfectly. The brawl was done perfectly. The NXT Divas being on top at the end was done perfectly. It was just hands down, to me, my most favorite segment. I went back and watched it 3 times last night. I've never done that for a women's segment. So kudos to the WWE and to those women. Congratulations for making it to the main roster. And, it was a long time coming, and it was well-deserved. All 3 of them have a spot, and they belong there. Mark Sherman had a really nice post on Facebook for Sasha. As we know, they're friends, and that was great. To see Ric Flair's picture backstage with a huge smile watching Charlotte come out, that alone gave me goosebumps. I would love to see a 4-horsewoman managed by Ric Flair. To me, that would be amazing. So I'm very, very over on that segment. Another outstanding Bray Wyatt segment. The contract signing ended the way that it normally does, but it was done a little bit differently, which I appreciated, and I thought that was well done. An even better promo from Heyman during that segment than the first one because he didn't get cut off. I mean, it was just so well done. The primetime players and Mark Henry, just everything about it. The only thing I really could have done without is Wade Barrett getting shit on once again and having R-Truth beat him. I like R-Truth. He's hilarious. But they're making Wade Barrett look like a pussy and making the whole King Barrett thing a joke.
Who did he piss off?
Well, that's just it. He's pissed off somebody because they have literally ruined him since he won King of the Ring.
I thought they ruined him with the bad news thing, but he turned it around.
He made bad news work, and it was very good. And I don't know if maybe he needs to go back to that, but this King Barrett shit ain't working, and he's just getting destroyed. And the only other thing I want to say about Raw before I pass it over to Stu, and I know this is something Stu is going to really address, and I just want to add my 2 cents in. Thank you, first of all, to the WWE for finally seeing that they've been wasting the talent of one Cesaro.
Jesus
This
Christ.
man has come out now 3 weeks in a row and stole the show. His matches with John Cena have been absolutely phenomenal. It doesn't fucking matter if he wins or loses those matches. We know who stood out in those matches, and it was Cesaro. And the match that they just had with Rusev and Steen or Owens, phenomenal. I mean, just all around, Cesaro is the guy, and they need to continue their focus on Cesaro. I wish Tyson Kidd all the best, and my heart breaks that he finally had a good thing going, and he's going to be on the shelf for probably a year, you know. But at the same time, this probably could be the best thing to happen to Cesaro, because I'm starting to see that they're appreciating the work that that man does in the ring, and there's gold in his future.
Yeah, no, the one thing that I think they don't do with him is they never quite find a good gimmick for him.
But you know what, though? What he's got right now is the perfect gimmick. He's being himself.
Right.
What do they always say? The best gimmicks are when you go out there and you're yourself. Prime example, one Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if he leans into it, gets a little more comfortable as Cesaro, that'll be fine. But like, they had him with the beret. He spoke 5 languages, all this other crap. It was like,
that was horrible.
It was terrible. And now, like, he's finally, I don't know what clicked. You know, was it the fact that he wrestled John Cena, so people were paying attention? Like, maybe people weren't paying attention to Cesaro when he was wrestling other guys. I'm really not sure what the case is, but either way, I'm glad for him. I'm glad that he's doing well. One thing I want to touch on before I go to Stu is why, and I know that I like the Bullhammer as a name. I also just like if they would have just called it Boom! Like, that would have been appropriate. But why, when the guy's name was Bad News Barrett, did they not call his elbow Bad News? And he goes, I've got some bad news for you, and then he hits you with the bad news.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, but that's why they need to hire you.
Well, thank you. I think once I talk about Ethan Carter at the end of this show, nobody's going to want to hire me, but we'll talk about that in maybe 20 minutes or so. Stu, Laser, Blazer, and all kinds of Azers. I love dodgeball. Your turn. Tell me a little bit about Raw.
Well, first of all, I like that entrance right there you did for me. That was hot. I like that. Raw, let's see. This has to be the first time I didn't fall asleep early and have to get up for work in the morning. Everything was great. Brock was awesome, as always. Like Steve said, Paulie's the man. I still consider him Paulie dangerously, man. He's awesome. I wish he had the phone again.
Everybody, though, that would be a great throwback to use the phone.
It would be. Again, what Steve was saying, that with the Divas, I was going crazy in our condo. My brother was telling me to shut the hell up. It was awesome. At the matches, the triple threat match was supposed to be the triple threat match was awesome.
Yeah.
Rusev Cena did a good job with that. The ending was great. Let's talk about Cesaro. Put a damn strap on his waist.
Right.
Not the tag team. I don't care about that. I know he's not a main eventer yet, I don't think.
Right.
I see him with the IC title. Give him a run with that, please.
Try it out, yeah.
Come on, the guy's amazing.
Yeah, because I think you've got a couple guys, and I hate to say failed experiments in the fucking Intercontinental Championship slot, but think about it. You got a guy like Big Show who was a big deal. He was one of the first guys to come over from WCW to WWF and make the jump.
Yep.
He made a very big impact. He was a multiple-time world champion, and now he's Baby New Year wearing a frickin' diaper.
Here's the thing, though.
He's
I
a jobber.
agree about him needing a strap. I'm not necessarily thinking the IC. I think it needs to be the US.
I think him and Owens, if they just let him and Owens go.
Yeah, well,
that would be
here's
great.
my only thing. The reason why I say that is because, and I didn't mention this, and I should have, Ryback has been impressing the shit out of me and showing me that he deserves to have that IC strap. I don't know if you noticed on Raw, but there were 2 spots. Number 1, in the first 35 to 40 seconds of the match, he launched himself off the top rope to the outside.
Insane.
Which you've never seen Ryback do. and finished the match with a fucking huge big splash off the top rope. So big shout out to Big Ryback. He's doing his thing, and he deserves to have that IC strap. Cesaro, I agree, needs to have gold. I agree, should not be tagged. It should be the U.S. title. And I think a feud with Owens is going to be magic.
Yeah. I just, the one thing that's going to get most of these guys is that with Brock Lesnar, constantly in the title picture, and I don't want to make this comparison because it's not precise, but it's close enough. You've got a guy like Lesnar who has taken that Hogan spot of perpetually being a number one contender holding a title. And then you've got guys like Rollins and Reigns and Ambrose who are like your Machos and your DiBiases and your George Steeles and your Mr. Wonderfuls who are perpetual challengers. There's and at the time, those were some of the top guys in the world. Even as you went into the late 80s, early 90s, you've got Flair and Warrior and Macho and Hogan all on the same roster with like a guy like Sid and a guy like The Undertaker just coming. I know Sid had worked for a while and came back, and then The Undertaker was working USWA and WCW and he came in. But at that point, it was stacked, and if you weren't in the title picture, you just had to go back down. It was crowded. And right now, for as terrible as we think the show might be sometimes, and as terrible as it is, and as terrible as it is to see a 20-minute Triple H promo for the last 50 years of my life opening up every single show, they've got a lot of talent at the top of the card right now, and I hope Cesaro's not getting lost in the shuffle because right now he's not contending for a title. He put on very good matches with Owens and with Rusev and with Cena, and he's not contending for a title right now. He's not in the Battlegrounds match or anything. So you would hope, if they go the direction that we think they're going with Kevin Owens winning the U.S. title, at least that's where I think they have to go at this point. Because if he loses, he might as well just go back down to NXT and start over. Anyway, I think if they get John Cena out of the U.S. title picture somehow and bring Cesaro into that, or even if they bring Cesaro in as a challenger to Ryback, but I like that they're keeping these divisions apart. You've got three clear guys, Ryback, Miz, and Show going after the Intercontinental thing, and then you've got the U.S. thing going on, and that's a bunch of guys because it's an open challenge. But you also have guys that are always going to be in the back of your mind, like Owens and Cesaro and Zayn when he comes back. Those are all guys you're thinking about. Well, if this is an open challenge, well, who's going to take it? So you hope at one point that rather than having a Hogan guy on top, and I'm not saying that Lesnar's a Hogan guy who's perpetually going to be on the top, because who knows? After this next year, he could be gone. But you would hope that Cesaro especially, and Owens especially, and Zayn, like these, and I'm saying this, and I'm saying especially for all these guys, that just shows how stacked the top of the card is. We constantly want these guys to move up, and right now there's a bottleneck. So somebody's going to have a breakthrough one way or another, or if somebody gets injured, somebody's going to have to get put into a storyline. It's really, I think, SummerSlam through Royal Rumble is going to be the most important, not just for Cesaro, but for setting up for WrestleMania. And I'm saying that like it's not obvious. But I mean, especially this year, they have to decide. They have to see who do the fans want and what are we going to do with them. Because in 2013, they had to book everything around Daniel Bryan and change all of their plans. Then, in 2015, or whatever the hell, 2014, I guess it was, 2015, they had to change around plans again because the guy they thought was a sure thing last year, Reigns, isn't a sure thing anymore. And they had to change it and have Rollins pin Reigns, so Lesnar was never pinned, and do this whole deal based on what the crowd reaction was at the time. If they have a little bit of foresight, instead of having to book this between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and give yourself 6-8 weeks, why don't you start at Battleground or SummerSlam and give yourself 6 months and tell a complete story? If you tell a story about Cesaro, who's a guy that keeps coming up short in all these title matches and all this shit, and then he gets a number one contendership spot, or he draws a number in the Royal Rumble, or he wins a tournament and gets to go in the Elimination Chamber, or something, you turn a down on his luck character that people keep seeing putting on great performances and losing, suddenly become that baby face that they want fighting from under like a big underdog and making this comeback and winning the Royal Rumble or becoming a #1 contender of some kind. So they have the time to do it, and I hope they do it in the summer and the fall rather than waiting until the winter and having to catch themselves up for 8 weeks like they've been doing.
I agree.
Yeah. Now, how about since we're on the Raw topic, I'll pass it back. We'll do the same rotation. We'll go Steve, Stu. Talk about the Divas, because you brought up a good point, Steve, about them having a contingency plan, and I don't know if they do or not, and I don't know if this is going to be one of those things where these girls are going to have to work double duty and work NXT sometimes and then work the main roster sometimes, and kind of like a Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn thing. I don't know. That's the question mark, and that's what nobody knows, and I guess that's, what's your take on this whole situation? Obviously, these girls are good enough to be on the main roster, but are they sacrificing the NXT women's division for the benefit of the main roster?
Yeah, I do. Listen, you still got, when she's healthy, right, you still got Bayley, who happens to be great in the ring. You got Emma, who is kind of reviving her career in NXT, so you still got her. You still have that blonde, what's her name?
Yeah. No, I know who you're talking about.
I forget her name. She's kind of newer, but she's there. You also got Carmella.
Yeah, Carmella.
Carmella really has
blue pants too.
What she can do, so she could come out and unleash some amazing ring technique that we haven't seen yet. So, I think
they're saying Eva Marie's been doing really well in this. I don't believe it, but I'll believe it when I frickin' see it.
I will say this. We all know, I've made it public, I do watch Total Divas.
You're a brave man.
I'm man enough to admit it. That's right, motherfuckers. I watch it.
I mean, brave that you have to sit through that stuff. Congratulations, sir.
I actually enjoy it. I really do. I mean, listen, not for nothing. Is it so bad to look at these girls for an hour? I mean, you get to see them in their hotel rooms. You get to see them all sweaty working out. I mean, come on. And, at the end of the day, I still have a penis that works, and so. But it's kind of cool to see the dynamic.
I'm so happy for your wife that you've got a fully functioning penis.
Yeah, well, yeah, her too. But it's kind of cool to watch the dynamic and see them outside of the ring and behind the scenes, even though a lot of it is scripted. It's a reality show, but you still get to see them in a different element.
Yeah.
Where they're talking about the wrestling. You get to see a lot of the backstage interactions during a live event. So that kind of thing, it is kind of cool. You get to hear some of the meetings with some of the execs.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it is kind of cool. But, I don't know where I was going with this. But...
Well, you were saying you were enjoying Total Divas for, aside from the fact they were pretty, you actually enjoy watching the show because it gives you all this backstage stuff. But I don't know. I'm not a watcher. I know that it's all a work and it's not.
I know why I brought it up. So we were talking about the validity of Eva Marie.
Right.
Here's what I can tell you. She has been working one-on-one with the Brian Kendrick.
Right.
Who, if anyone is not aware, was trained himself by Shawn Michaels.
Or he was trained by William Regal at Shawn Michaels' school.
Well, right, William Regal as well. So you got a guy who's been trained by two of the best wrestlers. Say what you want about William Regal. From a technical standpoint in his prime, that man...
he was one of the best, yeah.
So you got a guy like Brian Kendrick working with her, which that in itself, says something. They haven't shown all of the hours, obviously, because it's an hour show and she's only one small piece of the puzzle. But from what you can see with her working with Brian Kendrick, her bumps are starting to look a little cleaner. Her agility is starting to get a little bit better. I am starting to see some promise, but let's not get that twisted either. She's the worst I've ever seen in the ring. But that doesn't mean that when she comes back and she's in there with somebody, that she's not going to look 1,000 times better than we remember seeing her. And I do give her a lot of credit. she knows she sucks. And that's why she won't.
Yes, no, I get that. I get
You know
that
what I
because
mean?
the Bellas don't realize they suck.
Right.
Eva Marie realized she sucked and wants to get better.
And wants to get better. You know, it's the same thing with Girl Bye. What's her name?
Girl, bye. Oh.
You know,
Cameron.
Cameron or Naomi or whichever one, yeah.
which
It's
one?
Cameron.
Cameron.
Cameron?
Right, Cameron.
Sorry.
Cameron also knew she sucked. She asked to go back to NXT so that she could get better. That I respect.
Yeah.
You give a fuck about the business. And
Yeah.
you give a fuck about making sure that when you get in that ring on live television, you're not going to make yourself look like an asshole, you're not going to make the company look like an asshole, and you're going to be able to protect the person that you're in the ring with and make a match.
I absolutely agree because
So, you know, so in that respect, I give Eva Marie credit.
Yeah.
And not for nothing. Worst case scenario, she's still as shitty as she was before she got the training one-on-one with Kendrick. Then you make her a manager because she's still gorgeous and she's got the face that you could stare at all day. So you still can make use of her and not have her in the ring. Have her be a Miss Elizabeth. Miss Elizabeth never wrestled a match. The only thing she did ever in her career physical was jump on the back of Sherry Martel.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. So, but to go back to your original question
about the
taking a
NXT.
big risk. Number one, I do not think they should do double duty. First and foremost,
I agree.
You are either in NXT or you are on the main roster.
Yeah.
Don't do both because then you're going to take away from the nostalgia that is NXT. So, in that respect, make a decision, one or the other.
Yeah.
Now, are they taking a major risk of hurting the Divas division in NXT? Absolutely. Did this move have to happen to better Monday Night Raw? 100%. Because for the first time, I was glued to my seat during a women's match. And
For the first time, everybody gave a shit about women.
Every single person.
And I hate to
All
say
you
that
heard
because
on social media for that 10 minutes was, holy shit, Sasha Banks and Charlotte and Becky are on Raw.
Exactly, and just for me, and I hate to say that I don't like watching women's wrestling because that's really not the case. I hate watching bad women's wrestling, and that's what WWE's been presenting recently. Because
Agreed.
I remember back in the day, you had Lita, Trish, Ivory, Jazz, Molly Holly. Even Mae Young and Moolah were only like 75 or 80, and they were still taking bumps through tables and shit. Like, these girls knew how to work. And
Victoria,
jeez, I knew I would forget somebody, because back then, that roster was stacked. And Victoria might have been one of the best ones of them, and I was trying to remember her, and she did all, and there was the other thing. They always
Victoria
had
was
storylines.
by far one of the best.
Oh, absolutely. And they always had storylines, man. It's not...
Right.
Nowadays...
the sweetest person ever.
Yeah. Well,
Ever.
I heard... You told me that she doesn't swear, so I don't know how she's going to handle our show. We're going to have to clean our act
Well,
up.
no, I would make this promise that if she actually, she's not looking to do any podcast interviews right now, but when the time comes, I would make sure that we are 100% clean for the show, just for her because she is worth all of that respect, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But think about this, Steve. 10, 12, 13 years ago, these girls, well, even, okay, let's put it this way. Through about 1998, 99, through right around the SmackDown 6 era, like, I want to say 2004. So you had a good stretch there of almost a decade where the girls had actual storylines. We don't have any storylines. It's, JBL just go, I think all women are crazy, Moggle. They're just going to fight. And it's like, well, that's not a good reason that all women are crazy and they hate each other. Well,
But now,
okay.
now.
Right, now we've got a story.
We have a story. We have a story that's good and it makes sense. And listen, I don't want to toot my own horn or anything. But if anybody wants to go back and check the last 2 weeks of our podcast prior to this one, almost to a T, this is playing out exactly how I predicted it to be. I said from the get-go, Paige is going to get her back up, and it's going to be Charlotte, and I said Sasha Banks. I didn't see Becky Lynch coming, but for the most part, I got that one hook, line, and sinker. I'm
really glad that Becky did do it because, and I know, yes, you're right. It's technically, Bayley's spot. We'll if we want to go with that argument, if it was Bayley's spot.
Oh, I
believe
that 100%.
Right, and I think that if they didn't think Becky could do it, they wouldn't have put her there. They only would have brought the two girls up, and they would have done something else.
When I said what I said before, that was in no way, shape, or form to be a put down.
Right, it was just that Bayley's been in the program long.
I'm very big on Becky Lynch. She is very.
I love Becky Lynch. I think she's the next. I honestly forget Charlotte. Like maybe Sasha. I think Becky's gonna be fucking huge.
Oh yes, I mean, listen, Charlotte's gonna be huge because she's a Flair.
Right. And Sasha's gonna do. I'm so excited because they're all gonna be huge
because she's just awesome.
Yeah.
But Becky Lynch, I agree. I think out of all of them, I think she's gonna be the most successful in the long run. She's got the looks. I mean, she's beautiful. Her match with Sasha Banks.
Oh my God!
I was on the edge of my seat.
That was insane. That's one of the, and that's what I'm saying. I love those kind of matches.
Well, that's just it.
Yeah.
You know, give me women's wrestling that gives me the feeling of when I see The Rock and you know, or whatever.
Right. Shoot, I had just thought of something and I think I lost. Oh no, I was talking about this last night. Because these girls all made their debuts, and it brought back memories of like Lita and Trish main eventing Raw in like 2004, 2005, right before Lita retired.
That was her retirement.
Well, was that her retirement match, and she put over Trish? Yeah, because they wrestled at a or no, Mickey retired somebody, and then Trish retired, whatever it was. Or it was Lita retired, and then Trish retired shortly after. Whatever it was, they're both gone now, and they've been gone for a while, and they've either had kids or joined a band or whatever the hell else they've done. Dyed their hair. You know, they do all kinds of shit. I don't know what people are doing. I don't dip into their personal lives aside from what's going on Twitter. But I had an idea last night. Hear me out here. If they could somehow, I know Lita's injured and she couldn't really do it, and I know Trish is in a different space in her life and she wouldn't do it. But hear me out.
Never in this business.
A tag team match, not Team Bestie against NXT girls. Lita and Becky versus Trish and Sasha.
That would be amazing.
I would love that.
That would do such big. Because here's what I'm picturing.
That could even be a main event, and I would be okay.
Here's what I'm picturing. You guys are gonna like this. Becky and Lita both dye their hair the same color.
Sick.
Becky gives Lita a pair of goggles. And Lita gives Becky a pair of fishnet armbands, so they look like a team.
That'd be sick.
Take a little piece from everybody's gimmick.
Would love that. Yep.
Again, this is absolute fantasy booking. If I had a time machine and $20 million, but just the thought I had because these girls remind me of they're it. They're our new Trish, Lita, Ivory, Victoria, Molly Holly, Jazz, etc. Jacqueline. How the frick did I forget Jacqueline?
Oh, right?
Even Sable could do a powerbomb. She wasn't great, but she could do a powerbomb.
Sable's powerbomb actually wasn't terrible.
Sable had a pretty... You know what's worse is that she hit it on Mark Miro. So Mark had to make it look good.
He was the first one.
Yeah. He looked like... Ain't that a bitch? 110-pound girl powerbombs you?
You had to know that was the end of your career.
Right? You had to just start booking your speaking engagements then. Laser, let's go. How about you? Give us a take on these ladies.
Well, you guys are talking about the NXT girls.
Yeah.
We're forgetting somebody. Alexa Bliss.
That was the name! Yes!
I like her.
Plus,
she's freaking gorgeous, too.
Yeah. She's with that awful tag team, that generic tag team with the terrible dubstep.
I haven't watched NXT in a while, so I really don't know.
I think that's her. I think she's with Blake and Murphy now. She's like their girl. She wrestles still. But
yeah, she's a short little blonde chick.
Yeah, yep, that's her.
Yeah. I got mixed about that. I think they're going to put a little hurting on the girls down there. I probably would have brought up two of them at least. But which one, I don't know. It's going to be interesting what they're going to do. Thank God, hopefully one of them will beat up on Nikki. She's horrendous.
I'm hoping, I know this sounds bad, but I'm really hoping that this is the catalyst for Nikki and Brie to just fucking leave. Just leave. Like, you can go out in a big match and put over all the brand new talent.
I agree.
Just to throw back in my little Total Divas information. If you
Uh-oh.
will.
Here we go. If you will.
If you will, it was stated on Total Divas that Nikki Bella has decided she wants to be the next John Cena of the women's division.
She already is. She's
And
terrible when she holds the title too long.
She does not want to leave. So if this holds true to what was talked about on Total Divas, Nikki Bella is re-signing. WWE gave her another offer, a more lucrative offer to stay. She is going to stay, and Brie is going to go home and have a baby.
Oh, wonderful, and she can go build clay huts with Daniel Bryan in Phoenix for all I fucking care. Anyway,
Hey, no, by the way, Vince.
You hate so much on Daniel Bryan, but that's my dude.
And Brie, because she realized that she wasn't the hot twin, so she went for the B+ main eventer. That's really all it was.
I actually think Brie's hotter than Nikki. I really do.
So do I. Me too.
I think if it's just different types because first of all, let's again we have to mention this. They are not identical twins. WWE, stop trying to say that they're identical twins. They're not identical twins. Nikki's got knockers, Brie's got bees. Nikki would float away in a plane crash and Brie would sink. Okay, that's just how it is.
That's hilarious.
And it's just two different looks. Nikki is more, the supermodel preppy, whatever, and then Brie is like the down home. I wear plaid and fucking pigtails shit. Like it's just two different. They're two different people. Stop trying to pretend that they're like of one mind. They don't have like a hive mind going on with all the other Bellas, like they're the Green Lanterns or the Borg or something.
Yeah, I mean, and what does suck is if this is an official move to the main roster, then they have to take the NXT strap from.
Yeah, right.
I don't want her doing both.
No.
That's why, as excited as I was that Sasha was called up to the main roster, because Lord knows she deserves it, and
absolutely,
I'm so happy and proud for her. But if the plan is to not take the strap from her, then she should have stayed at NXT until the time was right, and they shouldn't have rushed that. So it's kind of But on the topic of Sasha Banks, rap star Snoop Dogg commented on his cousin Sasha Banks. Making her main roster debut on Monday's WWE Battleground Go Home edition of Raw. The rap star wrote, "The boss has arrived, my cousin."
Yo, did
Awesome.
you guys watch?
Awesome.
Did you guys watch the All-Star or not the All-Star game, the Home Run Derby last night? And then they did the celebrity softball game right after. It's on ESPN.
I watched part of it.
Snoop Dogg played center field for one of the teams.
Oh my God.
He was so stoned.
Oh, I saw a glimpse.
He
of
had to wear sunglasses. He like jumped for a ball and his sunglasses fell off, and you couldn't even see his eyes. He was just like, it was really bad.
Typical of him.
I was
absolutely.
You expect nothing less from Snoop.
Oh,
No,
absolutely
no.
not.
One other thing, I guess I didn't mention this on the air was we talked about beforehand. Going back to Raw real quick, Stardust came back.
Yeah.
And he's still a heel, and people didn't want to boo him because his dad died. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I kind of was afraid of that.
I don't think again, he said on Twitter that he felt it would be disrespectful to just up and change back to Cody Rhodes just because taking what he said was the worst thing that's ever happened to him and turning it into a storyline. I completely get that, and that is his right as a professional and as an individual person, and I completely agree with that. But what I think they should have done was you don't send out a guy whose dad just passed away and it's his first time back on TV, and you send him out as a heel. They didn't.
Right.
There was no reaction for him because they want. Cody is a likable guy. You want to like Cody, even when he's wearing the frickin' nose mask thing or painting his face as Stardust. You still wanted to like him because he's just a likable person. So I just feel bad that there's, A, that Dusty's gone. That's big. That trumps everything. But then B, where do you go from there as a performer? Do you do what Chavo did and, you were Kerwin White, so you shaved your head and then changed your name back to Chavo Guerrero? I don't know what the solution is. That's not for me to say. I just think sending him back out there as a heel was not the right choice.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I do.
I agree. Yep.
Did we get Laser's take on the ladies, or did he?
Yeah.
Well, I
Okay.
was starting to, but yeah, no, I'm
Go.
good.
No, say what else you got to say.
Whatever you got. We got time.
I just think, again, the two of them at least should have been come up, be promoted, because they're now gonna kill the division down there in NXT, which is pretty sad because it was really good. But I'm happy.
We're talking about the main roster like it's a punishment for women's wrestling.
I know, right?
It's so funny.
I'm happy Charlotte came up. She deserved it. But and she was looking mighty fine as always.
They're all good-looking ladies. That's the thing.
I think the best part when all three of them had their finishing maneuvers on them at the end.
Right.
The submission hold. That was great.
Yeah, that was awesome. Those girls can all work. And they showed that last night. So hopefully they do well and they don't get lost in the shuffle with I don't know, Michael. I think all women are crazy. Let's not get them wrapped up in that.
And at least we'll get better storylines, hopefully, and better feuds. So. Thank God.
As long as they don't go back to, oh, my name's Becky Lynch, I'd like to do the river dance. Let's not do that again. That was the stupidest thing in her debut, having her do Irish step dancing and coming out to some freaking bagpipe music or some bullshit. Completely killed her first match on NXT. She's very lucky. She's very lucky. What was 4? We were talking, or where are we at? 3 or 4?
Battleground prediction.
Battleground. Here we go. So Battleground. I'll read these off real quick. Oh God, some of these matches look like a bear to get through. We've got R-Truth versus King Barrett on the pre-show in a singles match for King Barrett's King of the Ring crown.
Who cares?
So if he loses his King of the Ring, which who cares? But if he wins, he doesn't get anything. Just to win, he's putting up something and he's gambling something for no reward. It's stupid.
No one cares about that match.
Yeah. So Barrett, sure, that's my pick. Anybody else? Who cares? Barrett, there we go, Barrett. All right,
I'll pick Barrett finally with a win.
Barrett, boom. Anyway, let's see. The next one, according to Wikipedia, and I know this is not going to be the order of the show. Let me try and figure out the order the show is going to be. That'll be fun, because it's not going to open up with Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. I'm going to say we open up with Ryback, Big Show, Miz. Who do you got in that, Steve? Intercontinental title.
Ryback's keeping it.
Stu?
Ryback has been a little bit impressive lately. Good run with him. He'll keep the title.
I think he's got to keep it at least one more month because he just, it's been bouncing around so much.
You don't want to make him seem like a paperweight champion.
Exactly. Like Ethan Carter. Anyway. I'm just going to keep doing it all night until I get to the point.
You were waiting for that.
I was waiting for somebody to say it. Anyway, so we got that match down. Let's see. How about the tag team match? WWE Tag Team Championship primetime players against New Day. What do we got?
I got to say the New Day keeps them.
Stu?
All right. No, I'm sorry.
Primetime players out right now.
Yeah, primetime players are keeping the
Freebird rule. New Day's going to get the title.
Here we go. He thinks you're going to have a little Freebird switcheroo. I mean, here's the thing. The referees already think that Brie is Nikki and Nikki's Brie. I have no faith in the referees in storyline that they have any idea that any of the black guys look any different. Like if you can't tell the difference between two people that barely look alike and one of them's got double D's and one of them's got a B cup, you can't. They're just, I guess they're face blind. That must be it, because there's a disease called face blindness where you literally cannot. We have the human ability to recognize eyes and noses in a certain sequence, and you don't have that. So maybe that's what the WWE officials have. It's just dumb. But I like that call. It's an interesting one, Freebird rule. I'm going to stick with the primetime players just because I want consistency. If titles are going to change, you want them to change infrequently in order to build up a better match. Because of the primetime players and the New Day, just flip-flop the titles every pay-per-view wouldn't be very interesting. One team has to get on a roll, and maybe the other team, maybe the New Day finally, really starts cheating to finally get over on them at SummerSlam or something. Who knows? Up next, the match nobody wants to see, the match that has happened 13 times since 2009 on a pay-per-view. Yes, that is a year and 1 month. If you put them back to back, you would have 13 pay-per-views in a row that you would have to sit through that included Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Who cares? I don't even care. I don't even care.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care either. Although, at least you're guaranteed with Randy Orton, it's going to be a solid match.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, let's face it, he's one of the best workers. So, in that respect, you kind of at least know you're going to get a decent match. If I had to pick somebody, unfortunately, I think they're going to give it to Sheamus.
I think so too. Just because he has the least momentum of any Money in the Bank winner ever, and I'm including Ken Kennedy, who had it for like 3 days in that, because Ken Kennedy had more momentum as a potential Money in the Bank winner, and he had to give it up due to an injury, than Sheamus does right now. And I like Sheamus. I love the dude, and I think, I rooted for him when he first came out, and I like that he upset Cena at that tables match and all that other stuff when he first did it, but they just haven't found... They bounced from, like, I like to fight, fella, which is the same thing that Finley did. And
Right.
then they were like, then he's like, oh, I'm happy-go-lucky, let's have a pint of Guinness. And it's like, well, you're 6'6", why are you talking like the Lucky Charms guy? It's just,
Right.
they never found a spot with him. So you think Orton? I think Orton. What about you, Stu? Or no, you said Sheamus, and I went with
Sheamus.
Sheamus.
We agreed on
Sheamus. We agreed on Sheamus. I'm dumb. Stu.
Even though Orton's my boy, I'm getting tired of seeing those two fight.
Oh, everybody is.
But there's really not that much on the line. I'm going to go different than you guys. I'm going Orton.
All right, there we go. I mean, maybe it's good for Orton. Maybe he'll get back in the title picture. And again, look at how stacked we are. Randy Orton and Sheamus, multi-time world champions, are wrestling for nothing.
Yeah, for nothing.
No stipulation, and they're undercard right now. That's ridiculous. That's how stacked the top of the card is. Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt.
I would love to see Bray Wyatt win a feud.
Gotta win a fucking pay-per-view.
He's got to win, and I haven't seen this guy win in like 2 years.
Seriously.
The plight of Bray Wyatt. Stu, what do you think?
Solid match. I think his streak continues to losing pay-per-views. I'll go with, oh God, Roman.
Ooh, Superman punch spear, go home.
Oh.
There we go. Oh man. Actually, that would be the come down before. I'm predicting that Reigns Wyatt is going to be the come down between. It'll be 5 instead of, or it'll be 4 instead of whatever order I did it in, because I think that John Cena Owens is going to go, and there's going to be something shocking that happens there, and they're going to need a come down match, which is going to be Reigns Wyatt, and then when Wyatt goes over, it's kind of like, oh, and then they go to the main event. I don't know. Don't quote me on it, because I just think that's the match order right now. But we'll go with the next one. U.S. Championship match. Champion John Cena against the challenger Kevin Owens. One more time. They're tied up at 1-1. And this is for all the more. Yeah, I certainly. If Kevin Owens doesn't take the strap, then everybody in the world should take back every good thing they've said about Triple H the past 3 years and the work he's doing with NXT. If he's too short-sighted to put the title on Kevin Owens, then all of the work that they're doing in Florida is an absolute waste, because all they're going to do is train guys to get fed to John Cena. And guess what? That's what they've done, because Bray Wyatt got fed to John Cena, and he did it the right way. He started in developmental and trained his ass off for like 5 years to what? Job out to John Cena for like 1.5 years. Anyway, I think Owens in order to secure the future and not the present, because John Cena is very much the present of the company. That's what it is. In order to preserve the future or to secure the future, they need to put Kevin Owens over. Stu.
If Owens doesn't win the belt, I lose respect for Triple H for what you just said.
There we go. So we have all of our matches except for main event time. We have Seth Rollins against Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. Rollins currently holds the title, and as of yesterday, looks like that he has no more authority buddies to rely on. Kane and J&J have been put out of action, and Brock Lesnar still has Paul Heyman. Not that Paul really plays a physical role, but he certainly plays a psychological role. And occasionally we'll get in there because he used to crack people with a big-ass cell phone. But what do we think here? Steve, who takes it? Rollins, Lesnar? What do you think happens?
I got to go with Brock.
Stu?
I'm throwing a twist out there, boys. I'm going Rollins with help.
With help.
Sorry, with help.
Yeah.
Paulie.
Paulie. Okay, so we do a little flip flop.
I think we're doing that because Rollins is going to turn face soon.
Wow. All right.
And he'll be with Paulie before I think the reunited of Shield.
Interesting theory. I think there are a couple things they have to address if they do bring back the Shield, which is the fact that Seth Rollins attempted murder on both of those guys several times.
Boy, did he.
Curb stop onto cinder blocks and all this other crazy power bombing Dean Ambrose. Like those were some of the worst looking, like not worst technically, but just like hard bumps on ladders and shit with those power bombs. And then they did the cinder block stomp to get him out of action so he could film that new movie or whatever it was. And of course, Rollins turning on Reigns to set in motion the whole thing with him joining the Authority, and then turning on him again by cashing in the title and ruining his WrestleMania moment. So there's a lot of stuff, if they bring back the Shield, that they would either have to completely change around, or they're just going to have to say, we had our differences in the past, and let's do it. And the reason I'm bringing up the Shield as an alternative is, according to a user on Reddit named Falcon Arrow, he has some inside information supposedly. Past couple months he's been pretty right and correct in predicting things, and if he hasn't been right, he's posted something after it happens to explain, the situation. It appears that he's pretty legit. He says that his WWE source is claiming there will be something big that happens in the main event. That's all we know. He won't. I think he knows, or he has an idea of what it is, but he's being a good wrestling fan, not a good mark. He's not telling anybody. Does that mean the Shield's reuniting? Who knows? Maybe. Does that mean that we're going to do a switch where Brock is now with the Authority and then Rollins is with Heyman? Who knows? Is Brock going to have to go out on his own because he doesn't have Heyman? I don't know. I don't really like Brock by himself, unless he's wearing a sombrero and making fun of Eddie Guerrero. That was the greatest segment in SmackDown history.
I got to be honest with you, bro. I don't like any of those scenarios. I don't like the idea of Heyman leaving Brock.
I think it's terrible.
I do not agree with the Shield getting back together.
Nor do I.
Why would you ruin the momentum that Dean Ambrose has right now?
Yeah.
Even though he's not a main eventing right now and he's not even in the pay-per-view, he still gets the pop of the night.
Absolutely.
You turn him heel now, you're setting him backwards, and that doesn't make any sense. So any of those scenarios, I think, are shit.
Hold on.
Go ahead,
Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying Rollins turns face, and the Shield becomes face. And remember, Vince McMahon.
How are they going to explain him killing Dean Ambrose?
Okay, make bygones be bygones, basically. But I'm going to tell you something, all right? Before I tell you this, keep in mind, this is Vince McMahon we're talking about. He don't care about anything. He doesn't care what kind of shit that Dean Ambrose is doing, what kind of momentum he has. He kills everything. That's Vince. Come on, we know that. As long as we've been watching wrestling. Now, here's. I have a source, okay? I'm not saying who it is.
Oh, Jesus.
All right? I'm going to tell you why Triple H is probably gone. All right? He's bringing somebody back.
Uh-oh.
All right? And they're going to feud with Rollins and the rest of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Stone Cold.
No, try again.
Punk.
Yeah, okay.
No, I don't know. Who would he bring back? Batista?
No, he's bringing Shawn back.
Michaels? Michaels is not going to come back.
There's
no way. Your source is high on drugs, sir.
Actually, he really is, really. It's somebody that I know that knows somebody. I'm saying he's my source.
Knows somebody that knows somebody. Well, if he's high on drugs, stop talking to Rob Van Dam. Stop talking to Rob Van Dam. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I think it's all bullshit, but hey, you know what? This is wrestling. You never know.
It's a little far-fetched that Shawn Michaels is going to come back out of retirement. He's made it very clear that he does not want to get back in the ring. So
I would almost be. Would you be okay with Reigns turning heel?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Just Reigns, not Ambrose, because then Ambrose could be. Could you? Okay. This might make the
That
internet
scenario
explode.
work.
How about Dean Ambrose, Brock Lesnar, managed by Paul Heyman as like a tandem? Holy
Wow.
crap! Right?
Wow.
Okay.
Then
So-
neither one of them have to talk.
Yeah, and here's the thing: even if Heyman's not there, and even if Brock's not there, Dean can still cut a hell of a promo.
Right.
So you're gold either way, and maybe that's the big shocking thing. Maybe just maybe once Bray Wyatt does it. He beats somebody, and he beats them so bad that they go insane and turn heel. Because that's all he's wanted to do for like 3 years, is take somebody and ruin them. Maybe he psychologically gets to Roman Reigns, and
Like
Reigns
John
just
Cena.
snaps. Right, like he
did with
tried
Cena.
to. And John Cena just rises above hate and everything else, and cancer and whatever. He rises above childhood leukemia and all other kinds of bullshit. So of course he wasn't going to lose. But maybe with Roman Reigns, who knows? It could be an interesting way to spin that.
That I would be okay with.
But overall, let's just, instead of trying to predict who's going to win or lose or whatever the finish is going to be. Bottom line. By hook or by crook, Steve, who walks out with the title on Sunday? Rollins or Brock?
I don't see how Brock doesn't take the title.
Stu?
Rollins.
Rollins, okay. I'm going to go with Brock. And I know it's a B-level pay-per-view, but they're saying they're trying to build Battleground back up and something big needs to happen. I will add an asterisk to that, though, that if Brock, my glasses are filthy, if Brock does not beat Rollins, then the shocking thing that Falcon Arrow, or whomever this is on Reddit, predicted is going to come true, whatever that may be. If we don't get a semi-clean Brock Lesnar victory, we're going to get like some big storyline bomb, or supposed, storyline bomb. That's kind of that's where I'm going. I'm hedging my bet a little because that's what I do, but I think Brock wins it back, not retains. Brock wins it back, or we get some kind of big, apocalyptic bomb dropped on the main event that's going to change the face of the main
event.
event.
That we haven't addressed.
What's that?
Sheamus has a Money in the Bank.
Yes, this is also true. And maybe they want to put Sheamus, who's a bigger guy, against Brock, who's a bigger guy. Because, Rollins, not that Rollins is small. Nobody in wrestling is really small, unless you count like Rey Mysterio and Daniel Bryan and the little bull guy and Hornswoggle. Nobody's really small. Everybody just looks small on TV because everybody's the same size. They're all over 6 feet tall. So Rollins isn't a small guy, but compared to Brock, he's a small guy. Sheamus would be a big guy against a big guy, and I think that, that's that genetic jackhammer boner that Vince gets.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be our big... hopefully it's not Sheamus, but who knows? Maybe it's Sheamus and Brock just destroy. This would be great. What if the music hits and Sheamus runs out with the briefcase, and Brock just spears him and hits an F5 and just sends him out, and he's not even a factor. He could cash in successfully, and they'll ring the bell and make it a triple threat, and he tries to do the same thing that Rollins did, but he just gets caught with an F5, and that's the end of the match.
That would be hilarious.
That would be... it would be a bullshit finish, and you don't really want a big bullshit finish like that, but...
Not if you're trying to get the pay-per-view over.
Right. But what are you going... Here, I just don't... And I hate to say this because I like the guy. I don't see Money in Sheamus as a world champion right now. There are so many other guys at the top. Sheamus doesn't need to be one of them, I don't think. Unless they have some big plan that we don't see coming for him, I just don't understand why he was... Not that why he was in the match, because I understand why he was in the match, but why he won the Money in the Bank match. That's what I'll never understand. You had guys like... Oh, no, Ambrose was in the IC match. But you had... I don't even remember who was in the Money in the Bank, and it happened 4 months ago. I just wish that they went with somebody who maybe hadn't won a title before. Or it's been a while since they won. It's been a while since Sheamus won the title, but he won so many of them that it feels recent. I don't know. I just don't agree with I never agreed with that decision about the Money in the Bank. We're getting towards the top of the hour, so Steve, do you want to give your final thoughts, talk a little bit about the site, do all that stuff? We can
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know you were telling us beforehand, because there's stuff going on with the site and changes and new stuff and...
Yeah, we got some exciting shit going on with the site, and I encourage everybody to go check it out. I mean, your first month's free. TagMeADate.com. We have new graphics that are being uploaded. We have a new homepage. We have a new search page graphic that's about to drop. We have location search, which is going to come soon. We're almost there. We have it almost completely finished. So that's going to be up. We possibly have an app that is being worked on. So, I mean, we have a lot of exciting things happening, and we're just very excited, and we just encourage everybody to go on. And we will be making a huge announcement going forward about pricing and our women subscribers. So stay tuned. We got a lot coming, so we're very excited.
All right, and that's awesome. I love hearing about the updates on the site because I always kind of get like screenshots and stuff beforehand, and I haven't gotten a screenshot or anything of this new stuff, but I'm really looking forward to it. How about you, Stu? Anything you want to mention? Are your last closing thoughts as your hard drive slowly spins itself to death?
Yeah, probably will. I'm excited for the site as well for Steve. Like, you've been working very hard with it. I'm proud of you, bro.
Absolutely.
Also, don't forget the show August 1st, Wappingers Falls. We will be there. And also, I'm gonna. Good.
We'll all be there.
Good. Also, there's also a show at Provident Bank Park where I'm gonna be there along with Justin, supporting Tag Me a Date. We will be there with our shirts on. So somebody come talk. We tell you about everything. A couple guys are going to be there. Brodus Clay will be there. Nice. Tony Atlas, X-Pac, who I'm going to talk to. Just Incredible, Nunzio. Also, Vince, your old boy, Kevin Apollo, will be there.
Who's that?
Kevin Apollo.
Kevin Apollo. Who's Kevin Apollo?
He did Northeast as well, too.
Oh, did he? All right. I'll have to look in the archives. Maybe he went under a different gimmick.
And there's also a 20-man battle royal, so who knows who's going to be there.
Oh, jeez, yeah, you never know.
Yeah, I'll be there supporting Tag Me a Date. I'll have my shirt on again.
Nice.
And try to make some contacts. I'll do my best for us. And hopefully we'll see people there.
Yeah. I always thought it would be fun if they did a battle royal where you had Papa Shango come out and then he got eliminated, and then Kama Mustafa came out and got eliminated, and then the Godfather came out and started like throwing people over the top rope. And just pretend that it's a new guy every time, and it's still Charles every single time.
That's hilarious.
I would love to do that. I tried to pitch Michael to do that, and he didn't think. Here was just one thing. Aside from the fact that it's the goofiest idea that I've ever had in my life, the one thing that nixed it was I don't think he can get the makeup on and off in time.
Oh, that's true though. That's a lot of makeup.
Yeah, that is the one thing that would hold that back. Unless you had him come out as like #1 as Shango, and then had him go back and wait like 5 guys or 6 guys and rub all the shit off his face.
That's true.
Right? I mean, I don't know. It was just a goofy thing I was talking to him about, at one time or another, because we had the Godfather coming. And I thought maybe the other thing that I thought, because Mick Foley does this, was that Foley does the 3 Faces of Foley photo package, so you can decide if you want to get your picture taken with Mick, Mankind, or Cactus Jack, or Dude Love. You get any of. He just has the shirts, and like he'll unbutton the plaid and take it off, and he's got a Dude Love underneath it, or he'll put the mask on for Mankind and the button-up shirt, whatever. Do the same thing with the Godfather. Do like, okay, if anybody wants Papa Shango pictures, it's at this time. Anybody wants Kama pictures, or anybody wants not that anybody wants a Kama Mustafa picture, but I would love to get a picture of me on the same day, so you can tell that it was the same day. Me and Papa Shango, and then me and the Godfather. I would frame those together. They would hang in my bathroom somewhere.
That's funny.
I guess we should. I've been alluding to this, and I'm only going to take a couple minutes because we're at 8:04, and I swear I'm only going to take like 5 minutes on this maybe. Then we'll play a commercial and it'll be out. This is fun. Yesterday, I was reading ProWrestling.net. They had a recap of the Chad Dukes Wrestling podcast. Never heard of the guy. I know he's got 4,000 some odd Twitter followers. Very good for you, sir. I was reading the recap because God knows I don't have the time to listen to a full podcast of Ethan Carter III talking about his legacy and his journey and all this stuff, and kind of just jerking himself off and putting himself over. He compared himself to like Stone Cold and The Rock. He said that he took the Stone Cold approach when he got fired from WWE going to TNA. Like the I'll prove you wrong in a different company kind of mindset. And then he said something that kind of bugged me, but then he said something that really bugged me. He said he wasn't going to go the route of pulling a sock out of his crotch or finger pokes of doom or anything like that. And so let's start this from the very beginning, shall we? You are not The Rock or Stone Cold, Ethan Carter III. Yeah. Okay, it's just not. You are not Stone Cold because Stone Cold went to ECW and then went to WWE to spite WCW. Okay? That would mean that you're going to TNA to leapfrog to a different promotion. And guess what? Ring of Honor doesn't want you because you have the stink of TNA on you. They don't really want TNA guys. They want old Ring of Honor guys that went to TNA to make money to now come back. Because guess what? Ring of Honor is making money and TNA is not. How about another thing? Ethan Carter won the world title, which, by the way, Apter and all them pulled world title status for TNA because they don't draw and they don't defend the title and they don't do anything internationally. They don't do anything anymore. So all of the wrestling magazines have devalued the title. It is no longer a world title despite what Impact Wrestling tells you officially. He won this title on a pre-taped show that aired 3 days after a live pay-per-view. You know why? Because they thought the pre-taped show was going to get more viewers than the live pay-per-view, because only about 10,000 people buy those pay-per-views. Well, you won with a roll-up on a pre-taped show that was taped 2 weeks before the live pay-per-view, so everybody already knew the fucking finish, and you drew a 1.1, and Ring of Honor beat you. So, all right. Let's go through a few other things. If you pull a sock out of your crotch, you're either Mick Foley or Santino. And guess what? Mick Foley didn't main evented pay-per-views all over the world, and Santino almost won the world title in the Elimination Chamber against Daniel Bryan, and he put on a clinic with Daniel Bryan. Santino was the star of that Elimination Chamber right before he tapped out to Bryan. And basically, if you're devaluing somebody pulling a sock out of their crotch, you don't understand the business. You don't understand wrestling. You don't understand that you need a gimmick. You are not ready for the big time. And that was the tweet that I sent. I said that he is not ready for the big time. Maybe he will be one day. I never got it. He was, the curly-headed guy in NXT or whatever. I never got the appeal. I understand people like him. He's a successful guy, whatever. On a human level, I wish him success. The fact that I thought he wasn't ready for the big time because he said some disrespectful stuff, and then he tries to come back on Twitter and throw shade at me, I just thought I'd drop a couple facts on him. Like, because you're the TNA champion, you are now associated with Global Force Wrestling. Guess what? Over the weekend in Ohio, Global Force Wrestling drew maybe 200 people. There are so few people in the crowd, I could count their heads and tell you exactly how many people are in the crowd. By comparison, we've already got like double of those pre-sale tickets, I'm sure, for Northeast Wrestling, also running in Ohio. The bad thing is that show that drew poorly is going to leave a stink in people's noses in Ohio for our show that's coming up in a week. So I sincerely hope that their bullshit, stupid show doesn't affect our future revenue with Northeast Wrestling. Speaking of Northeast Wrestling, and this one's for Ethan Carter III and his quote-unquote Aunt Dixie, guess what? Your Aunt Dixie and your Uncle Jeff ran Poughkeepsie Mid-Hudson Civic Center 4 times back-to-back against Northeast Wrestling. And guess who outdrew them every single time? Northeast Wrestling. So, if you think you're a fucking world champion drawing a 1.1 on a channel I have to pay $10 extra a month to get, and you're going to throw shade at me on Twitter, guess what? I'm going to roll up to a stadium in 4 days with all of my guys and all of my Ring of Honor and all of my indie guys, and we're going to draw more than TNA would draw. So, stick it. And if you would like to come on the podcast and defend your position, I will gladly verbally eviscerate you live in front of an entire audience of people on YouTube. And you can comment that on Twitter too, dummy. That's it. That's all I gotta say. That's it. See, look, 5 minutes. It's 8:09. It was 8:04 and it's 8:09. I said 5 minutes.
I just want to throw this out.
He has to come back. The disclaimer. Here's the disclaimer.
I happen to be a fan of EC3.
And again, that's fine. I don't begrudge anybody for liking somebody, because I know I talk a lot of shit about Daniel Bryan, and you love Daniel Bryan, and it must hurt you every time I say it. But I listen. I get it. People are fans of who they're going to be fans of. I don't particularly
That's the beauty of wrestling. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
I was the only kid cheering for Hulk Hogan and Rodman in my friend's house. Eric Moylan, and we were somewhere in West Hartford. in about, 1998, 99, and Rodman and Hogan were wrestling DDP and Karl Malone, and I was the only kid in an NWO black and white shirt throwing up the Too Sweet when they won. Everybody else was like yelling, and I was just like, yeah, that was me. That was me. So I get it. Like, I don't always necessarily agree with the constituency here about who's over or popular or whatever.
I do agree with the things that you disagree that he said. Like comparing himself to Austin and Rock and to, with Foley and all that. That I agree with you. He's a fucking idiot for thinking.
I just don't think, like, even if you think it, don't say it, because it's a politics thing, and if you're gonna say stuff like that, guess who it's getting to? It's getting to the top. Because if some jobber like me, who works an indie show once every 4 weeks, heard about it, I know for damn sure that Triple H and Stephanie and Vince heard about it.
Right. Very true.
So it's just a matter of, at a certain point you just got to keep your mouth shut. And maybe you'll get a job. Because right now, you're with a company that's going to go out of business in 6 months, maybe. It's play the game a little bit.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyway, I will no longer rant on this. I consider the topic closed, unless, of course, Mr. #EC3ForChamp would like to come on and defend his position. I absolutely welcome it. If you have a Gmail account, we can hook you in. And I will mention him. I will @reply him on Twitter because I know he saw all my stuff that I said because he already replied to me once. So we'll just.
What you should do is take the YouTube link for the podcast.
Yeah.
Attach it to a message to him and tell him to listen to the last 8 minutes.
Yeah, because you can actually tag, like, if you do a YouTube link, there's a way to do it now where you can copy the link at a certain time.
Yeah, so figure that out.
Hey,
if he hears it, maybe he'll want to come on.
Right? And at least, he's got fans. It's not like it's going to be an ambush. We're not going to come on here and, to try and whoop his ass or anything.
No, we'll treat him with respect.
Right?
I would encourage him to come on.
Right. Like, I might throw shade at somebody, but if they have, the professionalism or whatever to come on a podcast and talk wrestling and be, have some decorum, then I have no problem doing the same. So, I guess we'll tag it on Twitter. We'll play a little commercial for Tag Me a Date, but again, we've got Stu Laser Blazer and all kinds of Azers over there, and we got Big Steve. Shout out to Big Heck and Big Eric. Where are these guys? I hope to see them soon. So I hope to get Eric back on the show, hope to get Big Heck back on the show. But this, again, is the War Report brought to you by TagMeADate.com. More often than not, we are here every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Unless one of us needs to go and play blackjack for 4 hours and make a bunch of money like I did last week. But we are here. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're all over the place at TagMeADate, as in tag like tagging, me as in you and me, the letter A, and then date as a thing you do with someone you're attracted to. So look for that. Buy the shirt. All that stuff. Your first month is free. I'm your host, Vince Barry, and when I come back next week, because this weekend I'm going to be on the road, I'll come back with some stories about this upcoming show in Ohio. Maybe we'll get some more insight into one thing we were going to talk about that we didn't. Alberto Del Rio. I hope Alberto's okay. The rumor, like I read, the only positive thing I've read is that somebody online said they spoke with somebody that knows Del Rio and they said he's home. But he wasn't for, however long between the time that show should have happened and any time before that up to like earlier today. Nobody had heard from him and he still hasn't posted on any social media, so nobody even knows what happened. So
something will come out soon.
Yeah,
next week.
Yeah, and if it doesn't come out here, I might try and do some investigative reporting because I think we've got a few people on the show on Saturday that might know. So I'll put some feelers out there. Nothing, I can't confirm anything, but I can put feelers out. TagMeADate.com. Make wrestling night your date night. First 30 days are free, and let's hear from Hartzell.
Guys, it's finally here. Our first ever online dating service for wrestling fans. My name is Hartzell. I'm a radio DJ here in Kansas City, Missouri. But hey, don't take my word for it. Sign up today. TagMeADate.com. Your first month's free. Why not give it a shot? TagMeADate.com.
All right. Steve, hit the button.